a map, you know, so kind of see where you are in 3D and go, oh, I know where I got to go, which is really, to be honest with you, is really helpful. Why do you need a guidance system? What sort of agricultural operations would you use for a guidance system? Spraying, yeah. George could have used one. Guidance system, right. Spraying is one. Planting is another one. And planting, you think you might need, if it's broadcast, where you're just throwing it out, if I got overlap, I'm okay. But if it's row crop type stuff, then you want to make sure that you're in pretty much in the same spot. And you got 30-inch rows as opposed to, oh, I got a 30-inch row, but now I got a 40-inch row. Because 40-inch row is only 10 inches, right? But it can screw up a lot of stuff, especially if you don't have all your equipment on the same, like 8-row equipment. You got 8-row, 12-row, but screwed. So that would be important. And another one is cultivation. If I'm cultivating and I'm going through and what's cultivation? That is mechanical control of weeds. I'm going through my corn, it's maybe this high, and I've got a little chisel, not chisel plow, but a sweep or something, and I'm just trying to kill the weeds in between so I don't have to spray. Well, I don't want to be off by 10 inches, and then I have what's called cultivator blight. It means you've got a bunch of dead plants because you cultivated in the wrong spot. So at that point, you need very good accuracy. When you're out spraying a field, yeah, it'd be nice to know that I'm not a meter off, but it's not going to kill me too much. But if I'm cultivating or planting, I need better accuracy. So the types of equipment that I'm going to show you, and I handed out, talks about positioning systems, auto steer systems, got to use DGPS. Most of the auto steer systems, and especially for, and that's a high dollar unit, because it's got to have the mechanical stuff in there. Use RTK, carrier phase, real-time kinematic, which means the dual frequency, where I'm using the carrier waves to figure out what my pseudo range is, as opposed to just the code as it comes down. Most of my systems use code phase, and I get sub-meter. If I want 3 or 4 inches swath to swath, or pass to pass, as they call it, then I need carrier phase, survey grade type of equipment. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, we have guidance systems, and most are using the WAS satellite signal with pass-to-pass accuracy of plus or minus 10 inches. Pass-to-pass accuracy. Now that means that I take a pass, and a certain amount of time later, and a standard key written on this, I come back and I do another pass. And so that pass-to-pass accuracy, as I go by my first pass, is plus or minus 10 inches. I'm within 10 inches of that other pass as I go around and try to do a parallel swap. And a lot of them, that's referred to as pass-to-pass. Some people are picking this up. It's actually coming down in price. We'll talk about this. But these are the kind of the different units that they have. AGCO makes one. $3,380. Yeah, I'm going to blow that off. I'm just going to spray my field, and I might have some overlapping gas. But I'm going to save $3,000, right? Or not. Depending on your operation, the chemical you're putting on, it might be useful. Here it says 15-minute pass-to-pass accuracy of, 15-minute pass-to-pass accuracy of 6 to 12 inches. So that's at 15 minutes. I take one pass, go to the end of the field. By the time I get back, 15 minutes later, my accuracy is that much. And that's how some of the dynamic guidance systems are being evaluated. And now here's where you have both a light bar and a map. So not only do you have a light bar, but you kind of have this little map here that says, whoo, now do I not only know how far off the track I am, but I know the direction I'm heading. And that's kind of critical, okay? So let's say that I want to follow this path right here. Well, if I'm right here, it's saying, the light bar is saying, you're right on the path, you're right on the path, you're looking good, you're looking good. But if I'm like here, it says, you're right on the path, you're looking good. But am I looking good? I'm kind of going off in this direction. But it tells me I'm on the path that I want to be on. So The light bar is kind of stupid about that. It just kind of tells you where you are in the path. This thing kind of tells you the direction that you're heading. It will tell you, yeah, I'm on the path, but there'll be an arrow that says, yeah, you're pointing in the wrong direction. And you're going to be off that path pretty doggone soon unless you make a correction. So that map helps you kind of make sure that not only are you on the path, but are you pointed in the right direction. You'll find that out pretty quickly. And so some of these units are pretty good. That one's 5,000. It's the advanced one, 3,400. This one's down to $2,795. I actually pulled one off the web today. Because these are a little bit old price. This came out in 2003 or 2004 actually. And there's some different units, but the Raven here, there's the Raven unit. That's usually pretty cheap, $1,395 without GPS receiver. Oh, yeah, connected to an existing GPS receiver. Well, GPS receivers are getting pretty cheap. Let's talk a little bit about GPS receivers. They're getting pretty cheap, obviously. And if you use that little puck that I kind of showed you that one time, that cost me about 80 bucks. And I use that for the military. WAS differential correction, I can program it, output stuff, but I can only output data every second. Light bars, it used to be you had to have at least 5 hertz. That means 5 positions per second. It lets you know where you are right away, you know, as opposed to every half hour, where am I? Oh, I'm off on way out. But it lets you know quickly, you know, update where you are. So 5 hertz is important. But I can get that little puck, WAS differential, meter accuracy or whatever, depending on whether I'm picking up WAS in the lower 30 degree. That's why WAS is kind of, it's good when you get it, but a lot of times you don't get it because it's only 30 degrees high in the sky. I need that for 5 hertz. And so those units cost me about 120 bucks. Not too bad. It used to be that would cost $2,000, differential correction 5 hertz, because it was an extra option. Now everybody has it. So light bars like 5 hertz to work with. And the one that I just pulled off the web, looking for the cheap one, well, go to Gimpler's or T-Jet. You know, guys, not Tremble and stuff. But if you go to T-Jet, you get blurred. I don't focus now. Focus. And let me zoom in. And so what are we looking at? We're looking at one for $1,150 with GPS. Pretty reasonable. So it doesn't have, it just has a light bar. It doesn't have the map. If you can live with the light bar, you're okay with that. So you've got different prices from $1,000 to maybe $5,000 for auto steer, not auto steer, guidance system, parallel swathing, depending on whether you want, you know, this nice little map down there that kind of not only tells you where you are and the direction you are, but what's coming up. You know, if you got to take a contour around the hill, that's always nice to know. Oh, you're going to be turning left up here, as opposed to all of a sudden saying, turn left. So those are what's called guidance gear, and you have all that stuff. One more thing about this. Let's talk about turn left, because there are several swaths. Now you don't have a copy of this, and the reason is it's not very good, but there's different swaths that you can do. Okay, and we typically do what's called AB. AB means I'm starting here at A and I'm going B. And I'm driving in a straight line. And I turn around, and I want to come back this swath. And I turn around, and I want to come back that swath. And a lot of times there's headlands information. You put in the headlands. Headlands is where you turn. And it will actually, if you integrate this in with your sprayer, it'll shut the sprayer off as you turn. It's got boom control, solenoid valves that also sprayer's gone. And it's still pumping, but it's pumping back to the reservoir. It's got a little pressure relief check valve in there. So that's A to B patterns, typically. The other ones are these